Hey, Kelly, you know what time it is?
Time for the travel trip.
Travel tip of the week.
Yes.
All right, so this is our first installment of travel tip of the week. We just recently today had to go get our 15-year-old daughter's passport renewed. She is coming due at the end of January of 2019, and here we are in May, the end of May of 2018. You might be like, Mark, why the heck would you need to renew the passport already? Well, a lot of countries, when you travel to them, you have to renew your passport within 6 months of the expiration, or they won't let you travel to that country. So we just want to be prepared that if we leave the country, we have a cruise coming up.
We want to come back.
But yeah, we want to come back. Cruising isn't a big deal. I don't think it would have been a big issue for our cruise in October. However, we do like to leave the country, so we could decide to take a another vacation, sometimes over the summer, sometimes winter, and we leave the country and have an issue with our 15-year-old daughter not able to travel with us. That would be terrible.
Oh, I'm sure she would really miss us.
So our travel tip for this week is going to be about passports. And Kelly, I think the first question that people are going to possibly have about this is, if I just cruise, right? Because you have, if you're actually flying out of the country or driving out of the country versus taking a cruise ship, do I have to have a passport to cruise?
No, you don't.
Right. Okay. So you can actually cruise with just your birth certificate as well as a copy of an ID, and that will get you your sail card so that you can actually cruise, leave the cruise ship, that sort of stuff. Kelly, why don't you talk about what are some of the negatives of not having a passport, though, and just traveling with birth certificate?
If something happens to you while you're away and you're in the country and you become hurt, injured, or you get left behind.
Yeah, I mean, if something happens, you have an emergency, and you're not able to get back on that cruise ship to get back home, you're gonna have to go through like the U.S. Embassy and all of that to get back. It may not be a quick process. So so having a passport, I think, it just really makes travel a lot less stressful, easier. You don't have to worry about those sort of things. So we recommend getting a passport. Maybe your very first time cruising, if you're not quite sure if that's what you want to do, then you could probably survive with just traveling on your birth certificate and your normal driver's license or ID. But if you're watching this channel, you probably like to travel, and if that's the case, then I would say have a passport if you don't already have one. It'll make it so much easier. We're going to talk a little bit about passports, and then there's also there's a passport book and then a passport card, right? So the passport card, most countries will let you travel with just a passport card. It is a little less expensive, but there are some countries that you must have an actual passport book where they can stamp the visas if you have to have a visa to get in and out of that country. So I would spring the few extra bucks. It's not that much more expensive to get the full-on passport. That way you don't have to worry about it. The good news is for adults, passports are good for 10 years. So I'm sure in 10 years if you travel, you're gonna go somewhere that needs to have a full passport book. So it's definitely worth the money.
We finally got ours stamped for the first time when we were in Honduras.
We did, yeah. So on the cruise ship, we use the passport for ID, but they don't stamp them. When we went to Honduras, we got it stamped with the little Honduras stamp. So that's kind of neat. I don't know, kind of nerdy thing, but it's kind of neat to have the stamp in the passport, which is great. So Kelly, why don't you tell them a little bit about like the difference between if kids are under 16 versus adult passports?
Well, if you're under 16, both parents have to be there when you do the passport. It is a little bit less than the adult one. However, it only lasts for 5 years. So you would have to renew it again in 5 years. And if they're still under the age of 16, it's only good for another 5 years. So in our prime example, our daughter is 15 and a half, so we had to get another 5-year
Yeah, we were worried about stretching it to when she turned 16 and us not having it back in time for our October cruise and or if we do any other vacations. So we said screw it, we'll go ahead and just pony up the $80 this time around. And get her renewed, even though it is for only 5 years. But guess what? In 5 years, she will be almost 21, and she'll have to go get her own passport. Yes. And then we don't have to worry about it anyway. Yeah. So
the scary part as a parent, though, is that you do have to give them your birth certificate, her birth certificate, and you get it back in the mail. So you have to have a trust and let go of that birth certificate for a couple weeks. And then it'll come back to you. So that is something I did forget about the last time we did that. We all had to turn in our birth certificates, and they did all come back to us. So that was I forgot about that part today.
Yeah, so Megan is birth certificate-less for the next 4 to 6 weeks, yep. Which is the normal processing time for a passport. So plan ahead 4 to 6 weeks to get your passport back. You can do expedited service where you can get it back in 2 to 3 weeks, but that's going to cost you an extra $75 to do that. And just your typical passport for adults, the 10-year passport, the full book is $115 plus service fees of about $50. So you're looking at about $165 for your passport for 10 years. So it's not that big of a deal. And then you can expedite it for the extra $75 if you're really in need of getting that back quickly.
And if you're at a facility that doesn't do the photo, you also have to go to either CVS or Walgreens and get the 2 photos you have to take with you as well.
Yeah, and here's the thing that's interesting. So when we first got our passports, we were living in Georgia, and we went to Walgreens, we got our photo made, and then we made an appointment at the U.S. Postal Service office that does passports, and we went in and they processed it for us. This time on the renewal for Megan, we're in Florida now. And it's not done at the post office in Florida. It's actually done at the county clerk's office. So it could be state by state. So just make sure that you go on the U.S. passport website. It's the federal website. And it will tell you, it gives you every single step you need to do. We recommend that you fill out your forms all online. Then all you have to do is print them off, fill out very little, sign them. Whenever you go to take those in. So, and that's for the original application as well as renewals. Fill it out at home and just take it in with you. That's probably the easiest way to actually do it. And then it'll tell you where to go. It'll tell you in your state, in your county, where your offices are at. Make an appointment if you can. If they don't accept appointments and it's walk-ins, just get there early so you don't have to worry about lines or anything like that. We didn't today, but we got there right as they opened this morning, just to make sure that we didn't have a long wait today.
Yeah, we were there maybe 10-15 minutes. It was pretty quick.
It was really fast. Yeah, they no one else was there for passport services, so it was really quick to be able to get in and get out of there. I think we did have to make an appointment at the postal office, though, when we did that in Georgia. We had to make an appointment a couple weeks in advance. So there again, just check and see if you can make an appointment. I would recommend it so you don't waste time taking care of that.
The reason why it's really good to get a passport as well is because the government goes in there and they prove who you are. So when you have the passport, you've already went through that process of your birth certificate, your social security card. So that passport book is really good. It just says who you are. So yeah,
just gives everybody a peace of mind that background checks and all that kind of stuff have been done whenever you go through that process. So I think that's pretty much all the information around passports. Again, there's pros and cons to the card or the full book. Traveling with just a birth certificate and ID if you're doing a cruise. So our recommendation is just do the full-on passport book. Make your life easy so you don't have to worry about having something different if you book travel someplace that would require that. Do it in advance. Make sure that you're definitely well in advance that 4 to 6 weeks of your travel.
6 months early.
Yeah, renew it 6 months early because some countries won't let you travel there if it expires within the next 6 months. Make sure if you need to have a visa whenever you're traveling to some countries. Some countries don't require a visa, just a passport. Some you have to have the passport and visa paperwork. So check those things before you travel. That would be our recommendation.
And remember, you'll be letting go that birth certificate for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, so if you have other things planned, like your daughter getting her driver's license when she turns 16, make sure that you give yourself time there. You know, the other tip would be you could always get a second birth certificate, an official birth certificate. This is not a copy, not a photocopy. It's got to have that raised seal on it. You could always order a second one from your state and have two. That way, when you ship one off, you've always got that second one to back it up. So just another tip there too. A little bit of a pro.
Yeah, which is what she told us to if we wanted to do that as well.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for our first travel tip of the week. Hopefully this was good information for you guys. And as always, give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and we'd love it if you could subscribe to the channel and help us grow so we could reach more people. Please tell your friends and family about us, and check us out over on Facebook at The Traveling Duo. So we would love to interact with you there.
I'd love to see you.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Hey, we hope you liked that video. If you did, please click the thumbs up, give us a like. Also, please subscribe to our channel. That way you get the most up-to-date videos that we put out. And please head over to Facebook and check out our Facebook group. It's called the Traveling Duo Adventures Community. Come on over and engage with us.